I've done it. This is like my third, well, actually, this is only my second time doing it all 30 days.
Okay.
The first time I did it, I actually didn't make it the 30 days. I made it to day like 26 and I got the flu, like a really bad flu. And you know, when you get sick and all you want is just like, you're like craving like the weirdest things. Like I just wanted bread. I wanted crackers. I wanted something really simple. I remember being so upset. That I broke it, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. Anyway, well, good for you.
Yeah, I'm craving some tacos. I'm craving some sushi. That's the two first things I'm eating when I get off of it.
Yeah, the rice is hard. Have you heard of the Siete brand?
No, I haven't.
So if you want tacos, yeah, they're Whole30. Yeah, I can like send you the link, but you can find it at like Sprouts or Whole Foods. I think even Amazon. But it's Siete and it's cassava flour and almond flour tortillas. So you can literally make like chicken tacos and throw them in there. And they also have chips. It's great.
Okay.
It's a nice little like
send it over. I'm trying it. Yeah. The last week, gotta have them.
Yeah. They have these grain-free lime chips that are like,
oh my God, those are my favorite.
I got to put them down. I had to stop buying them for a while because it's like 2 trips a week.
Yeah.
All right. Eat something else, buddy.
Yeah. And they're like pretty expensive. So you're like,
yeah, right.
Going through this bag of chips.
I ate sushi for you, Tim, the other night, and I drank wine for all of us the other night too. So
yeah, you're so kind.
I miss wine so much.
I got your backs, guys. That's what I'm here for.
So much.
All right. So you got questions and everything.
Cool.
Any questions for us before we get started? Like I said, we do an intro after we're done. We put it together and make sure you like it. If there's something that's like, that didn't come out right, like, can we cut that? Just let us know. But yeah, we just kind of like, we're hanging out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you guys will edit like afterwards.
Yeah. So our goal is to get this out, not this coming week, the week after.
Okay.
So we do like one like interview a week, and then we have our own episode. So we try to do 2 a week if we can, but then yours will come out in 2 weeks, I guess.
And when did you guys get started on all this?
October
2018. Yeah.
October of 18. Yeah.
Wow.
So
awesome.
Been a while, and it's not at the same time because we're at like 154.
Yeah. And we've been like, we've each gone through like professional changes in our personal lives too. So the fact that we've still been able to continue to put out episodes through it's been a fun journey. We're enjoying it, and we get to talk to the most interesting people, diverse backgrounds, like people like you. Like we meet so many awesome people, and that's why we're looking forward to today. So,
so you guys have like your own. Do you have like 9-to-5 jobs right now, or do you guys only do this?
So we each work for ourselves.
Amazing.
So, yeah. I lost my job last March.
Okay.
I had always known like I just can't have a boss. So I have my own nutrition and rehab practice out of a CrossFit gym. Yeah. So then I coach classes there too in between on my off hours. And then I do freelance writing on the side. So, and then Tim just quit his job. So we had like a month or two where we had to figure out like our paid jobs. And then, so we took a break from the podcast for like, a month and a half or so, and then fired it up again, like in December.
Amazing. That's so cool. Good for you.
Like sunrise to sun up or sundown. So it's like 9 to 5 plus some, I guess.
Yeah.
We're always doing stuff.
Love it.
It's been great.
That's great.
So tell us kind of like your background, how you got started. So people that don't know who Grace Leer is.
Oh my goodness.
Grace Leer Band.
I'm Grace Leer. I'm 29. I'm from originally Danville, California. So I was born and raised in Northern California. Danville is like 45 minutes from San Francisco. It's in the East Bay. And then I moved to Nashville. It'll be 4 years in May. So coming up on my 4 years in Nashville, which they call Nashville a 10-year town. And it's been a journey, but I feel like for me, the journey started like way before I even got here. So I don't know. I started singing at a really young age, probably 6 years old. I did a talent show and absolutely fell in love with the stage. And I mean, I've always loved to sing. I was always annoying my brothers and sister. I'm the baby of 4. So I was always yelling, screaming songs and singing all through the house. And my sister's like, shut up, like stop singing the same song. Okay. Do you know any other song besides Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Grace? Like sing something else. Yeah, anyway, so I just started singing at a young age, but I also played soccer competitively growing up. And then I played college soccer and then kind of did the whole, like, this is like an overview, but we can get into the nitty gritty of the details. But I think like the balance of being an athlete and a musician and having these two big passions, I think I always knew that music was like the number one, you know, and I knew that soccer kind of had a timeline. I wanted to play collegiate soccer. So I played at UC Berkeley and then graduated and did the whole classic, like, wait, what do I do now? Like I got my degree and I played soccer, but I want to sing. Where do I get started? So I moved back home and started a band in San Francisco. And then we moved out here to Nashville. And then I did American Idol. So it's been kind of
that's awesome.
Crazy. Yeah.
So you had the same band from San Francisco come to Nashville?
Yeah. So I met this guy, Kyle Klaus, and he's an incredible songwriter. And we just met through a mutual friend, and he kind of got me into this old school country music. I kind of grew up on everything. I was like a 90s baby. So I grew up on everything from like Britney Spears to Shania Twain, and in terms of country, like the Chicks and Jody Messina and Leanne Rimes and all those like big female, you know, powerful voices, amazing melodies. Like I just am obsessed with 90s country. But then Kyle had this whole, he grew up on like Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash and, you know, Patsy Cline, which I love too. But we kind of had this cool mix of like old school 90s country. And he's not a singer. He'll be the first one to tell you he does not sing. He's just an amazing writer, and he can play guitar and bass, and he's awesome. So we just kind of started writing, and at first I was singing his songs that he was writing, and then we started writing together. And I remember him saying, you know, we can start a band. And I was like, we're not going to start a band. Like, you know, no. And then he called me up one day and was like, Grace, I got us a fiddle player. And then the next day, they got us a bass player. And I was like, okay, we're starting a band. Like, all right. And I remember our first gig was at the only country bar in San Francisco. It's still there. It's called Jackson with an X. And I had called them up, you know, just kind of being my feisty self. Like I needed to get on stage, and I called them. They were new. And I said, hey, do you guys have live music? And they go, no. And I was like, do you want live music? And they were like, I mean, sure, like send us your stuff. So that was our first gig, and we didn't have rehearsal. Kyle showed up with his guitar and this stand-up bass player and a fiddle player, and then me, and we didn't even like rehearse our songs. We just started playing. They like put us in this corner that was a stage, and yeah, but it was awesome. And then it just kind of kept building from there. And I just remember after a year of doing that, we were at rehearsal, and I think I was just kind of getting that itch. You know, I was 23, and 23, 24. And I just remember being like, I'm getting a little too comfortable here. Like I've only lived in California. I've only lived in the Bay, you know, I went to school 30 minutes away from home. And I just needed a change. You know, I needed to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to challenge myself. And I knew that Nashville, you know, you meet anyone and you say, I want to do country music. They say, you got to get to Nashville. You have to be in Nashville. And so we just I looked at him in rehearsal and I said, hey, I think I want to move to Nashville. And he kind of looked around at the rest of the band, because they were great, like great musicians, but Nashville's full of them, you know, and right. It was really Kyle and I's like partnership that surrounded the band. So he said, I'll go with you. And he's kind of a hippie. He like had no idea. He didn't have a job lined up. He didn't have it. I'm so type A. I was like, I'm going to need a job. I'm going to like need to do all the math in terms of like how much I need to save to get out there. And I was like coaching soccer and babysitting and like saving up all this money to get out here. And he was just like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to drive there, you know, sometime in June and I'll figure it out. It's like, okay. But yeah, when we got to Nashville, and then we kept doing the band thing and went out every night that we could to just hear live music and, you know, meet people, and would just go up to people and say, hey, we just moved here. We have a band. Do you want to play with us or hear our music? And I was emailing every place in town that would just let us come and play. And we didn't get paid like at all. So I would lose money because I'm like, I have to pay my musicians. I want them to keep playing for me. So I was actually losing money every time I played a gig, which was really funny. But thankfully I did get a 9-to-5 sales job when I moved here which is, I think that fear of I don't know, the fear of, oh gosh, if I immerse myself completely in this, what happens if I fail? Mm-hmm. So I got the safety net of a job and a steady paycheck. And I remember crying to my dad so many times going into that office just because I hated it. I just wanted to do music all day. That was always my biggest goal when I moved here. And I'm so grateful every day now that I get to do it. I quit my job around American Idol. Actually, when I got eliminated on American Idol, I called my company and I quit and didn't know what I was going to do. But I'm the happiest person now that every day I get to go to sleep thinking about music and I wake up getting to do music. I get to do what I love. It's the ultimate thing. So I'm very lucky.
Well, I think having a job is like, you had to figure it out. You had to pay people. Like, you still got to live, right? We need money.
Yeah.
But it's that other reaffirmation of, okay, I still hate this. It's like music didn't change, like that drive didn't waver. It's like, okay, now I need to still get out of this because music is the thing. So I think there's still a blessing in reaffirmation of, okay, corporate is not where I'm going to be, but it's floating my dream right now until that figures itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who are in that position where they're working a 9-to-5 and they're doing, whether it's a side hustle, if they're doing something they eventually want to make full time. Do you want to describe maybe like what that was like, kind of balancing those two things, and maybe the biggest thing you learned doing that and making that transition? And maybe that'll eventually lead into the American Idol story, but maybe you want to explain like how you're able to balance working 9-to-5, because I'm sure it does take a lot out of you during the day, and then still having that energy left over to dedicate to your true passion.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the balance, I learned a lot from playing soccer. I mean, playing college soccer, you have to balance your social life with your academics, with your training, with your then one-on-one training with your coach, and your mental toughness and all that stuff. So I think I learned at it goes all the way back to when I was a kid, and my calendar, I remember having this calendar, handwritten calendar. And even in like 5th grade, I had, state cup championship. And then right after I'd sing the national anthem at a Giants game. And then the following weekend I had a birthday party. And then I had, this test was due on this date. And it was like a compilation of all these little things that I was. And so I think at a young age, I had to learn time management. I had to learn balance. I had to learn how to, whatever I was doing at that moment, I'm not the best multitasker, but I'm just someone who, if I'm doing something, I can't half-ass it. Like, I just give it everything. So with doing the 9-to-5, being in Nashville, I didn't hate sales. Like, I was learning a lot. I liked it. I was good at it. I'm competitive. But I think it was just knowing that the paycheck I was getting from that job was supporting my music, because I was getting that paycheck. I was able to, pay someone to do my website, pay for ads on social media, to record our music, to pay my musicians. So it was helping support what really is my passion. But then at the same time, it was draining, so I would go in at 7 a.m. And then I would be making calls. And then anytime my manager was like not around, I was working on a poster because we had a show coming up that weekend. And I would always do the artwork for the poster, to be like closing windows and like hiding them. And it's so bad, but like, that just shows how much I was my mind was always on music, even if I was trying really hard to just be good at my job that I was getting paid to do. But anyway, I think it was draining also because I would be doing that 9-to-5. And then, my normal schedule was, every so often I'd work all day, get off at 5, go meet Kyle. We would write, And then sometimes we'd have band rehearsal. And then I would always have to put my shows on the weekend because just with work, that would just be a lot. So shows were on the weekends, rehearsal and writing was always in the evening, which Kyle would get mad at me because he's like, Grace, you can't have this job. And if you look at it now, like what I'm doing now, Monday through Friday, my writes start at 11 a.m. Like the musician, the artist and musician songwriting lifestyle is daytime, like because the nighttime, I mean, COVID is happening right now, so shows are not really a thing, but normally you would be writing all day or rehearsing with your band. And then the night, even during the week, you'd have writers rounds or gigs or whatever. So it's, he would always, you know, give me crap for having this 9 to 5. Because he'd be like, we'd clash about, well, when can everybody rehearse? Oh, well, this person has a gig tonight, so they can only do during the day, but you don't get off work until 5. So it was hard, you know, but at the same time, I think it was good because I was just learning, I was still developing and I was still learning and growing and coming into my own, even as an artist, which then gets to the American Idol stuff, because a lot of people don't know that I actually auditioned for American Idol the season prior to last season. And I didn't make it past the producer audition, which is really weird. And then the following year, I make it to top 10 and come out with a record deal, which is just shows you that you don't know what life has planned for you. And sometimes you just need to kind of like let it be and just know that the timing is working in your favor. But I remember that first audition that I didn't get through. I think I still was trying to be, I don't know. I think I just didn't know who I was. I think I was always a singer, you know, like I've been singing since I was 6 years old. I can sing, but I think there's so much more to being in Nashville and how competitive it is, and just finding your thing and finding what makes you you, and not trying to fit a mold and not trying to go in. I remember I sang like, God, what song? I sang like a really hard song and I honestly can't even remember what it was. But I remember I sang it and it was like not me. I just thought, oh, well, if I sing this song, that's a really hard song to sing and I prove that I can sing it, maybe maybe I'll get through. And I didn't. Because I think it came off, you know, inauthentic. And I think it came off not really showing what my strengths were, but trying to be something else. So the next year I actually went in, they asked me to come back and audition. I almost didn't do it. And I brought Kyle with me and we sang an original song. We did a Dixie Chicks song. I think we even sang another original song. Cause I think I knew what I wanted to be and I knew who I was and I knew the type of music I wanted to do. And I wasn't going to apologize for it, you know, and it worked in my favor. I think they saw that, they saw something different or, you know, it is a casting call. So who knows? It's like, they're also just making a TV show. Right. But I think just what worked for me during American Idol was constantly reminding myself that there's only one me, that I can only be who I am, that I can't compare myself to anyone else. Because I'm me. Like I just kept saying that. And I remember in Hollywood Week is the first taste, first I had the audition with Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan, and then you get your golden ticket and you go to Hollywood Week. And I remember during Hollywood Week, that's the first time that you start seeing other people, because your first audition, it's just you don't hear other auditions. So that's the first time that you're sitting in the Orpheum Theater and you're watching people go up and sing and you start to say, oh gosh, they're really good. Oh, that's a really good song. I didn't choose that song. Oh my God, they play guitar. Like I don't play guitar. So you start comparing and you get in your head and you start to doubt yourself. And I just remember watching people and I kept having to say, and thankfully my dad was there to remind me too, but I think it was just constantly just sticking with my guns and just being like, nope, don't change your song. You know, don't try to be, you know, overdo it. Just be you up there and be confident and do something that feels good. And yeah, that was a crazy week though. I won't lie, but yeah.
So you said you had to, from your first audition to the second, more authentic. What other kind of changes to your performance, your writing, did you see go on after that first audition? Where it's like, all right, that wasn't me. Like, what other things did you do differently with the rest of your
between
music?
like this season I didn't make it to the next?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the only big difference, I feel like everyone asks this question, the only big difference is that I broke up with my boyfriend I was with. So I ended a relationship that was long distance that I think I didn't know it at the time, but I think it was slightly holding me back. Because I think I was trying, it's like I was half in Nashville, half not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I was in Nashville. I was still writing. I was still performing. I still was doing what I love, but then I still had this identity to be a girlfriend. And I was planning these trips to go see him. He lived in a different state. And then like planning, I don't know if you've done long distance, but it's like a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of looking forward. And then it got to the point where there really was no future with us and it was fine. And there was nothing wrong with what happened. But I think there was something that changed in me when that relationship ended that I think just allowed me to just completely immerse myself here and just fully get to know Grace and get to know like who I was here alone, like without distractions, without worrying about someone else. I don't know. It sounds selfish, but I think sometimes it's good to be selfish. And sometimes it takes to just be alone. And it was hard, like you get lonely. And I remember I had a friend tell me that. She said, you're gonna learn how to be alone without feeling lonely. And now it's weird because it's been 2 years and I love being alone. And I love my independence. Like I love my quiet time. I love being with myself. And I think that's something that every person should experience at some point in their life, because at the end of the day, you only really have yourself. Like you have I have amazing friends and family and I have everyone, but like, I think that just relationship with yourself is so important. So to answer your question, I think that is a big thing that changed because I really was able to I still had a job, but I did change jobs. So I got a different 9 to 5, but it was more like a startup. So it was like very flexible hours. They were amazing. They came to my shows. Like they were so supportive. Cool. The other 9 to 5 I had was like very toxic, very like strict schedule, like very limited PTO. And so I think those two changes, I changed jobs and then I also, was no longer in a relationship. So I think those two really helped free up that time that I got to just really pour myself into writing, performing, singing, and other stuff, social media. I mean, it's a huge part of my career, social media. And then just, booking shows and doing all that stuff and working on my brand. And so I think just having those two big changes in between the season I didn't make it to the season that I did, I think were the biggest things that affected it. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's huge, being selfish. Like when we have a path where it's like, there's something that we have to give up. And it's, we feel selfish about it. But Tim and I talk kind of about this on the show too, where it's like when the oxygen masks drop down in an airplane, like you need to help yourself before you help everyone else next to you. And life is kind of the same, where it's, okay, I need to do things for me first. Everyone else wants me to do this thing and that thing and help them do this. And it's like, I haven't helped myself yet. So I will pour from an empty cup and you won't get 100% of what you need from me because I can't give that to myself yet. So I think that's huge. It's hard to do, but
it's hard to do, especially I'm the first to admit that I'm a people pleaser. Again, it might go all the way back to soccer, having coaches and being like, wanting to make them proud, or having, team that's relying on you and you want to be liked. Like, I don't know where that stems from, but I think that's a really good point you're making, is that I don't know, like, I think I just want even now, I think I have to constantly remind myself that, you know, this is my career. These are my decisions. This is my business. And as much as I want to make where I am now, my management happy and my label happy and my producer happy, at the end of the day, you know, who do I really want to be? And when I put music out and when I get introduced to the world, you know, what do I want them to see? And what do I want to say in my music, you know, and what do I want to leave people with? How does music make me feel? And how do I make other people feel that way? So it's hard because you have all these opinions and voices. And at the end of the day, you know, it really does come down to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of noise.
Yeah.
So you get through your second go at American Idol.
Yes.
You get to top 10. What was that like? How did that progress things? Yeah. Tell us about getting to the end like that.
I feel like I'm talking a lot. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. This is about you.
This is your interview.
Yeah. We talk all the time. So this is all about,
there's a lot like
be super selfish today, Grace. It's Selfish Sunday.
I'm such a selfish person. God.
We didn't want to say anything, but
yeah. Great. But American Idol, it's just the reason it's just a lot. So, I mean, between that first audition, you guys, like I have such a hard time explaining how that felt and it makes me emotional because I was so scared to go into that audition. We did the producer one in Nashville. And then the first audition with Katie, Lionel, and Luke was in Milwaukee. So Kyle and Kyle came with me. If anyone's seen my first audition, he's the one on guitar. He's awesome. But we actually had to drive through the night to get to Milwaukee because he had a gig in Nashville that night. We got on the road at like 11, got into Milwaukee at like 7 or 8. And then we had to be at the art museum at like 9.
Oh
my dad got us a hotel. My dad met us there. He's in Chicago. He's like, I'm going to get you guys a hotel room so that you can come like change, put some makeup on, get ready. And then we'll drive over it was just the craziest night / day. And then I had a full on, I get really nervous. Like I can make myself physically sick. That's how nervous I get. And you'll never see it on stage, but you will see it backstage. I get so nervous. So I was so nervous for that audition. I almost like wanted Kyle to turn the car around. I just didn't even want to go. But we get there and we were like the last to go that day. So tired, hadn't eaten anything because I can't eat anything before I sing. And we get in there and we sing the songs. And I just will never forget the feedback I got and how honest they were and how wonderful they were and how nice they were to me and telling me things that I had always wanted to hear and the validation of I'm not crazy for having this dream since I was 6 years old. This could really happen. It was the first time. And it's so hard to explain because it's just a feeling. And I remember standing on that and like, I looked down at my feet and there was like the American Idol logo. And this wave came over me of just like, yes, like you are where you're supposed to be. This is the right way. Keep going. And have you guys read the book Green Lights?
I'm halfway through it right now.
Okay.
I call it a healthy obsession with McConaughey. Like some people like McConaughey.
Yes.
I think I'm the next him. Like my acting is just delayed, but I love Matthew McConaughey.
That's great.
Yeah. So I just read that book too. And those green lights were like a constant last year. Like just that moment of that first audition and I was so emotional my first audition. I cried and that was just, I don't know what came over me, but I think it was just finally feeling like, oh my gosh, did a door just open? And now I get to just walk through it and see what happens. And it was just such an amazing feeling for them to like me for being me and just my voice. I'll never forget that moment, but that was a green light. And then Hollywood Week was crazy. And again, those were a bunch of green lights because I remember the last day of Hollywood Week, they give you a list of songs to choose from. And there was only one on that list that I knew really well. And they give you the opportunity to play with the full band. But the song was Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. And if you know that song, it is just a simple piano song, It's not a hard song. It's very simple, beautiful message, amazing song. But I remember going back and forth in my mind, oh gosh, if I pick that song, I won't be using the band. And I have a band in Nashville. Shouldn't I show that like I can play with a band? It's not even that hard of a song. Is it going to show off my voice? I don't know. I cried myself to sleep that night before. We had to wake up at like 4 a.m. the next day to get ready and do the day. And I just did it and I went with it and I got through to top 40, which was nuts. And then top 40 came, which was in January. We filmed it in January of last year. So this time I was in Hawaii, which was incredible. Wow. They flew us out there for a week.
That's not bad.
And that's when I told my job. So I pulled my manager in one day and I said, hey, I'm doing something crazy. I'm doing American Idol. I have to leave for a week. Is that okay? And he's like, hell yeah, go for it. Do it. That's awesome. So I went, and that was another kind of weird moment, which was there was a red light moment in Hawaii because I wanted to sing Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin. The minute I found out that I was in top 40, I was like, that's the song I'm going to sing. That's the song I'm going to sing. And the producers were like, we don't want you to sing that song. And I remember going back to my room. I was crying. I called my mom and she said, Grace, if you want to sing that song, you better fight for that song. Because at the end of the day, the producers can't choose your songs. Like you choose your songs. So the next day we had to do a producer like run through and I just sang it anyway. I sang it full out, like performed it. And they were like, nice. Okay, fine. You do that song. I was like, that is great. Yes. It was like, yes. So they were like, okay, that's your song. So I was so excited because I didn't back down. Green light. So ready to do Natural Woman. And that was insane. My dad was there. My brother and my sister-in-law were there on the beach. It was, we were on the beach in Hawaii and a full professional band. It was only a minute and a half that I sang that song. And I cried walking off the stage. I didn't want to get off the stage. I wanted it to go on forever. And again, I just remember having one of those feelings. And that's the moment I knew I was going to quit my job. So I got off the stage and I said to myself, that is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I am not going back to the corporate world. I mean, I had to until we did live shows, but I just knew like, this is it. I'm quitting my job. So that was nuts. And then the whole thing happened with Lauren and I, which was a whole, curveball, the whole voting thing, between Lauren and I were best friends. We stayed together, in Hawaii. We were roommates. We're both just like Nashville, love country music, country singers. And they did that thing with us, which was crazy. So that as an athlete, when they sat there and said, we're going to let America vote between you two, I remember being like, this feels like a tie. And I feel like we're going into PKs and I'm not happy about it. I'm like, this is what? Like just
the way no one wants it to end.
Yeah. I'm like, can you just pick a winner? Like, I just want to know. Yeah. And now I have to wait 2 months to know if I'm in top 20. So it was just wild, but we're going with it. It's TV. It was fun. So then it was all preparing for the live shows. And the live shows were going to LA in March. And then we got to LA in early March. We were staying in these apartments. I was like so zoned in. I had like a full-on routine every day. We were in voice lessons, working on songs, wardrobe, filming, interviewing. And then the stay-at-home order happened. And we got pulled into a room and the producer said, we have to send you home. We don't know what we're going to do, but just sit tight and we'll figure it out. So I decided to go back to California to be with my mom because, you know, it's so funny looking back because I think everyone was like, oh, it could be a couple weeks. It could be months. We don't know what's going to happen. And here we are. But I went back home to California and was there for a week. There was a week of weird limbo. And then the producers had a call with all of us over Zoom and said, we're going to do the show from home. And we were like, what do you mean? Yeah, it was kind of like cool. Okay. And then it was just full steam ahead. They were sending us equipment. They were sending us decorations. They were sending us lights, ring lights, microphone stands, like audio equipment, 3 iPhone cameras, which were our cameras for TV.
Okay.
It was just crazy. Everything was over Zoom. All of the, the band, we never got band rehearsals. We just told the band what song we were going to sing. They recorded a track. They sent us the track. We performed to that track, and it was nuts. And if you can imagine, I think this is how a lot of people felt working from home. The fact that I'm sitting there in my living room practicing my songs, and my mom's in the kitchen. She's like, I don't like that song. I didn't hit that song. You didn't hit that note. Are you okay? And I'm like, Mom, you're not supposed
Mom,
to.
we're out of this. Here. Go to the store, please.
Yeah. Mom, meatloaf.
Yeah.
I was so it was a lot. But, at the end of the day, it was a crazy time. My mom's a PA, my brother's a paramedic. And, when all that was happening, I was just so grateful and blessed that during a scary time, I was able to just do what I love and do music and bring some entertainment to people. The amount of messages that I got from people that just said, thank you for being a distraction, during such a hard time. And it's kind of being this something to look forward to every week, to watch me on TV. I mean, it meant so much to be able to do that. So as crazy as it was, when I look back at, doing American Idol from home, I can't complain, because it was, I still got to do what I loved, and that was awesome. And, but, with all that being said, I remember when I got eliminated, I kind of knew it was coming. I did cry for top 20, which went well. And, I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow for top 10, and that was amazing, because that's just always been my favorite song in the whole world. But I don't know, there was something, I think I just kind of knew I was done. And I remember when I got eliminated, I was, upset, but I was so excited for I knew it wasn't the end of anything, it just was the beginning, because I looked, a lot of people, can take from American Idol, even if it's just the exposure, that's great. I opened up to so many people. I met so many amazing people through it, and gained a great fan base that is so amazing and supportive and wonderful, and, got to know me for who I am. And that's really important to me, to just be a role model and be an inspiration to people and motivate. But I remember getting off the show, and then I said, okay, I'm going to ride out. I think I'm going to stay here for like a couple more weeks. And I quit my job. So I called my company like the day after I got eliminated, and I said, I'm done. And they were like, we saw this coming. We love you. It's okay. And I said, okay, I'll go back to Nashville. I have a good amount of exposure now. Maybe I can just kind of build a business off of that, and I'll start, keep playing songs. I'll keep writing, whatever. And then 2 days after, I got a call from 19 Entertainment, which is basically like the label with American Idol.
Okay.
And they said, Red Light Management wants to talk to you in Nashville. And I was like, what? No, they don't. She's like, yeah, they do. We sent them your stuff, and they really want to talk to you. Red Light is like the ultimate, like, they are just an amazing management company here in Nashville. They have a lot of big names on their roster.
Sounds like so I had
what was that?
Sounds like green lights.
Green lights, right? Oh my gosh, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. So I had a call with them, and it went really well. And they just said, we really want to start developing you, and we want to get you in the room with writers and hone in on your sound and whatever. And so then that was a few months of, kind of going back and forth with them, seeking out a producer. And then 19 decided to sign me to their label, which is, it's kind of complicated. So it's a label, but it's not fully staffed. So the goal is to eventually get with like a major label, which is what they're called in Nashville, like a Sony or a Universal or, that have a little bit more like ammo behind them. But, 19's wonderful and they've been amazing and they want to partner really bad. So this is all just like music industry details. But I think it's just been such a crazy ride. And I think after that, it's funny because I talk about how much I know who I am. And then when I got in the ringer with Red Light and with different writers and talking to producers and really listening to like what is on mainstream country radio and really listening to, what I really love, I'm still figuring out who I am basically. And I think it's because I don't think I am one thing. I think I have a lot of influences. And I think that's what's really fun about the creative process is to say, like this past week, I wrote with my producer all week and one song we wrote is like a super simple country ballad. Another song we wrote has like some pretty cool, like mainstream beats in it. And it's like, I'm like, I've never even like written anything like that before, but that's really cool, and it's kind of, I feel like right now I'm in this stage of exploring and discovering and trying new things and getting uncomfortable. And also just the writing is such an interesting thing because I'm learning that, there's a very literal way to write. But then you get in the room with these producers, we're all walk in and say, hey, I had this experience, I'm single. So I was kind of talking to this guy and then he ghosted me and it really sucked. And then they're like, okay, we can't say that in a song, but let's like figure out how to say it in a song.
He ghosted me. This guy really sucks.
He ghosted me and he sucks but he still follows me and it really pisses me off, blah, blah. It's like, no, we can't say all that. So it's really funny. So I'm the artist that comes in and is like, this is my life. And it's like therapy, you guys. It's really interesting. Like it really is such a therapeutic thing. And I'm always just blown away by these writers who are just so encouraging with me. And they're constantly asking me, they'll like come up with a verse and then they'll say, do you like that? Would you say that? Do you, is that how you feel? And it's really awesome because you're just having this collaborative time. And I was very quiet in my first writes because, these guys are like big time writers. Don't want to say something stupid. It's kind of like just that feeling. So, but now I'm getting a little bit more comfortable and I'm coming in with melodies that I'm coming up with on my own or that pop in my head, or I'll, do a voice memo as I'm on a run and something comes to my brain and I just play it in the right. And they're like, that's cool. Let's go with that. And it's awesome when, that I'm starting to get inspired and I'm just starting to, kind of let myself find that sound and find those words and find those things that I think people need to hear.
Yeah. That's cool that you're kind of like falling into it, getting more acquainted. Man, getting ghosted sucks. You want us to go get him? Where does he live?
Yeah. Can you go TP his house?
Yeah, right. Oh, I only did that one time when I was younger, but that was a fun time.
It was fun.
That's a good time.
That's a throwback.
I was going to ask, you kind of alluded to it, how music and country music, you're doing different beats. It's evolved. How have you adapted kind of your writing style? Because you hear like a lot of different things where it's like, is that country? And then you hear like some country with it. And then it's like, but are we in a club at the same time? So how you kind of adapted to those different sounds and things with your music?
Yeah, I think the answer is I still am, because I have these roots in me that I love the real country music. And to throw some names out there, like the stuff that Ashley McBryde is doing, Miranda Lambert, Lainey Wilson, like these, Haley Witters, like they're bringing back this real authentic live sounding country. And 90s country I have heard people say, because I've gotten in the room with writers who have been writing for like 30 plus years in Nashville. And One of them told me, when I kind of told him what style I am, he said, it's so funny because when 90s country, when like the Chicks and Shania, you know, started putting music out, people were like, what's that? You know, that's not country music. That's kind of pop. You know, what is that? 90s country basically is pop country, but it just has a little bit more of live, you know, big drums, but it has synths, it has beats, it has claps, you know, like there are very, you know, engineered stuff in 90s country that you kind of just don't know is there, because of how much we have listened to pop music. So, and, you know, hip hop and rap and all that stuff. But I think what's really fun about country is there really isn't, I don't think there has to be one way. I don't think there has to be, you know, one version of country music. I think I love, and I think you're also evolving all the time. So even though what I might be, whatever that first record I put out or whatever that first single I put out is, I also really want it to be current, because I love current country. I love mainstream country. Not all of it. I mean, are some that I'm like, whoa, how is that on Hot Country? That doesn't make any sense. But I will say, you know, I love it. It sounds good. It feels good. And, but I think it's also allowing myself to know that I will be completely evolving and changing, because I think Casey Musgraves, obviously Taylor Swift is the biggest example of how much you can shift your, you know, art and your songwriting and your music. But Casey Musgraves, I love using her too, because if you listen to Same Trailer, Different Park, that is old school country. That is Texas country. And then you listen to Golden Hour, which is her most recent one, and it's completely disco, 70s pop, beats, tracks, like, you know. So I mean, I just think it's just, and Maren Morris too. I think whatever feels good, whatever feels good to you. I think, you know, for me, like I said, one day I'm writing a simple ballad with just piano, and then another day I'm writing something that has beats and banjo and mandolin, and like, it's so interesting. And I just think it's fun to kind of play around with the resources we have now and create something new too. Like, I don't want, as much as I use myself and to compare to Shania and 90s and all that stuff, that's the last thing I want, is just someone to hear me and say, oh, she's just another, you know, or, oh, she sounds like. I mean, the ultimate thing is that they hear my first song or my first record and they say, I've never heard anything like that before. Or she doesn't sound like anyone else. I think that's always the goal, is to create a new, you know, lane. I mean, that's awesome. Like, I think music should always be growing and always be changing and different stuff. I mean, when Billie Eilish came out, everyone's like, what is that? And now she has her own zone and people compare other people to her, you know. Oh, that sounds like Billie Eilish. So music is a funny thing.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you guys like? Like, what is your jam?
Well, I do gotta say, I don't do karaoke often, but when I do, man, I Feel Like a Woman is a go-to. It is a go-to. That or Ain't No Mountain High Enough. It's one of those two.
That's love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, right.
Well, when things are open up in Nashville, you should come. We'll get up on stage at Wild Beaver and we will do Man, I Feel Like a Woman. It'll be cool.
You had me at Wild Beaver. I am in. We used to have them here, then they closed down. Tim, lead this one off. What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to just about everything. It just depends on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm doing work and writing, I'm listening to either like jazz or classical or something that doesn't have lyrics. If I'm like working out, I'll listen to hip hop. But my sister, she's about 6 or 7 years older than me. She is a huge country music fan. So I got my country music influence from her. I wouldn't say I listen to country music as much as the rest of what I listen to, but I still enjoy it. I think there's a time to listen to it all the time. So I like just about everything.
That's a good point though, because music is a mood. You know, I'm the same way. I mostly listen to country, I will say, but I listen to it sometimes to study it, you know, to see, especially on like New Music Friday. Okay, what's at the top of a hot country? I'm a Spotify person. And then, you know, but then I'll listen to like relaxing like a relaxing playlist when I'm cooking, or I even listen to like Frank Sinatra and hip hop. Yes. I love it. You know, working out, I got to go to another place. Country doesn't get me in that last like rep. If I
need the extra juice. Yeah.
Man, I feel like a woman probably won't get me there, but
right.
That's good though. I love it.
Yeah. So like Tim, I got a pretty broad spectrum, and everyone's like, oh, everyone says. I was like, well, let me show you two different ends. So I've played piano and guitar my whole life.
Amazing.
Took lessons growing up. So I got my classical side from piano. First, I hated it, like a lot of people, like you're forced into it. And now I have such an appreciation for like, wow, like what they were doing talent-wise back when we had no tech and they were composing. And then guitar is when I found my love for like classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the people that are just like the best of the best. But like, at the gym, sometimes it gets scary, like Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, like the heavier metals. And then Logic will be in there, J. Cole. I'm a big Mac Miller fan, so I was super bummed when.
Awesome.
Yeah. When
That's
he
great.
died, but so I love a lot. So it's broad. It depends, but if I'm writing, it's got to be like no words. Like I can't do words if I'm trying to write something, because then I'll start writing what I hear, and then like delete, like half a page of worthlessness.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Do you do like journaling, other writing outside of writing music? Like daily stuff. Yeah,
I'm a big morning like routine person. I have one roommate, and I'm blessed that she sleeps in until like 11, and I am like a 7 a.m.er, and my writes usually are at 11, and so, and I get made fun of because the Nashville writers I'm always like really either early or on time, and I've had like 2 cups of coffee, I got a workout in, I'm like showered, ready for the day. And they're like rolling in, like sometimes hungover. They're like, Grace, you're making us like, this is not how a songwriter and a musician lifestyle is supposed to be. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just not that way. But my thing in the morning is, I usually like, I sit on the couch with my coffee and I'll journal or I'll read. And I journal different things every day. Sometimes it's song ideas. Sometimes I just need to like get stuff off my chest. Sometimes it's like affirmations. I think it just kind of just depends on my mood. But I definitely have found myself, because I tried to write at night and I just can't do it. I think I'm more of a morning person, that when my brain is really going, than at night when I just kind of need to turn it off. So, because I have a hard time turning my brain off. So,
That's fair. Yeah, I'll do like a morning journal if I got to recap a couple of days. Like I missed a few days and I'm recapping. But if I do like any poetry, that's usually a night thing for me, because like people go to bed. Maybe I'll stay up a little later, so I'm by myself, because I have 2 roommates too. And a couple dogs. So that's when it's like, it's just me, and I'm always the first one up usually too. So it's like, I get the coffee started and
me
all
too.
That. But the writing depends on like my timing depends what I'm writing, if that makes sense.
So do you write songs?
I tried a while back. I haven't revisited that. Like I still have old journals of stuff. I don't know how they would sound right now based on the level of writing that it was at, but I've thought about trying again, but I'm like, should I do that? Should I not? Like pretty good at journaling. Like poetry is easier for me, but we'll see. I know sometimes that stuff turns into a song just by itself.
Yeah.
But,
I've heard that's how Shania was. She just had poems.
Really?
Yeah. And then Mutt Lange took her under her wing and all that stuff. But you should write songs.
Maybe I have my secret acting career after my secret music career.
Yeah.
It'll go.
Do you want to be an actor too?
Not that it's a desire, but I think I have a knack for something like that. Like a little bit. I don't need to like Hollywood, like big time, like a Kevin Hart, or The Rock. But I think like I can keep a straight face. I can like I like messing with people. I think I do a good McConaughey impersonation. I know you come on the show with how much I do McConaughey.
Every episode.
Do it. Do it. What's your Wakanda impression?
Should I do the Dazed and Confused?
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, Dazed and Confused?
Yes.
Like, okay. I got to make sure because some people are like, no, what's that? And I'm almost insulted.
Yes.
So they're standing outside of the Emporium and he's like, see, that's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age. I'm talking, I got 450 horsepower of pure American muscle, man. I've just been working for the city. Might as well put a little money in my pocket.
Oh my God.
I think she liked it.
All right. Hey, the party at the Moon Tower tonight. Y'all should come by. We're going to get a kegger.
Oh my God.
So he was, I mean, I know you read the book.
Seriously.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
I appreciate that. Like, that's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me.
Yeah. He should do something with that for real. I tell him that.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Like, you need to do like TikToks. You're going to get TikTok famous if you start doing that.
I still haven't gotten on TikTok yet.
Is there someone that does that? You got to look to see if there's an account out there that already does that. And if not, you should.
Off the Dome. You guys don't have one for Off the Dome? You don't have a TikTok?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Haven't done it. I feel like I'm on so much already.
No, don't go off of mine. Mine's horrible. But honestly, you should just start reading excerpts from Green Lights, like in the Matthew McConaughey voice.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I did read to my buddy like his intro, like prelogue or whatever, like the description, like in the cover. I read that and like the first paragraph to him. And I was like,
seriously,
hey, tell me what you think.
That was so good.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
And on our last episode, he read a poem from the book in his voice too.
Oh yeah, one of his poems, like kind of sang to me. So I had to read it in McConaughey on the show. Yeah.
Wow, that was my favorite moment of this entire conversation. That was seriously so good.
And I'm
a big like movie person. I'm a big I everyone always like makes me quote movies, so I can't do voices like that. Like I just know like random quotes from like Step Brothers and like Dumb and Dumber. And
I always tell Tim, if I got paid to do movie quotes, like I could probably go through a whole day of not saying anything of my own content and just do it all from movies. Yeah, I'd be fine.
Yeah,
I'd be fine. But
I get it from my brother. My brother and I seriously just talk in movie quotes. We don't even like have conversations.
Yeah, right. See, I'm all about that. And it's a bummer when I'll throw like an old movie line in there and someone's like, wait, what's that from? I'm like, it's not fun if I have to explain it.
I get it.
Yeah, I do some impersonations like a Josh Turner dancing in the halls, maybe babe right at the stairs.
Oh my God.
Bounce off the walls. Yeah, so like I'm a Josh Turner fan. Yeah,
I love Josh Turner.
Yeah, I saw him for $10. We got a place called 8 Second Saloon. And like Montgomery Gentry, Chase Rice, like. And
amazing.
It's a small joint, like 2 pool tables, like a dance floor for line dancing, but it's like, I don't know, a few hundred people max. And saw him, he did an acoustic set for $10. And I'm like, dude, 1, you're worth way more than this, but 2, I'll pay $10.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but he's always blown me away with how like deep he can like just hit that bass note and then come right back out of it. It's,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I love Josh Turner. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So all that to be said, yeah, maybe I'll start music writing. We'll see. Acting is like, if it happens, it happens. If not, I'm not going to be sad about it.
Yeah, I get it.
I think I'm the next Matthew McConaughey.
I don't know. But I did like some acting, like I took an acting class in college randomly and I loved it. And then I did like, I've done like I've only done like 1 commercial, which was random too. But my dad's an actor and he's a model.
Okay.
And it's funny, now that like his auditions are all over Zoom, I have to like help him do it. And so he'll FaceTime me and I have to read the lines back to him so he can get his audition in. But I think I would totally do it. Like if someone was like, Grace, we really want you to be in this like film or commercial or whatever, I would totally try and do it. I would need acting lessons, but I think if you have because I think I'm not saying performing is like acting. I think, but kind of, because I mean, you know, if I'm singing a sad song, I have to go to a certain place to get the message across. That's my favorite thing about singing, is that I have the ability to make people feel something with whatever I'm saying or how I'm singing it. And I just think that's so that's just such a blessing. And so I think actors are the same way. I mean, they get to make people feel, to make them laugh if it's a comedy, or make them cry. It's like real life stuff. And I just think if you have that talent, that's incredible. So I would totally do it. I wouldn't say no, especially if Matthew McConaughey was my co-star.
Right.
I'd probably say yes.
Yeah, take the probably out of it. It's Matthew McConaughey.
I'm kidding.
Green Lights. My new book is out now. Check it out.
Green light. So
you know, if you're gonna hit a streak of green lights, and you think that's all you're gonna have, but you'll hit some reds.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna need that book when you're done with it.
Dude, done. I love that book.
You need to read it.
Mm-hmm.
It's seriously so good.
It's addicting because he's one of the greatest storytellers.
Yeah.
Like, even on paper, like, and it's kind of changed the way I journal and write poetry too, is like I see what he puts into his, and I'm like, oh man, like that's got such a broader width and a level of depth, but it seems simple at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a storyteller.
Yeah.
And I love Matthew McConaughey. So.
Yeah. He didn't, because I'm a big podcast guy, like listen to other podcasts. And when he was on Rogan, McConaughey was. And
that was fantastic.
You can, I mean, the way he storytells just on there, it was so compelling to listen to it. And I mean, he talks about how he writes and how he manages his time, how he plans out his day and writes it out the night before. And him doing that kind of motivated me to be more intentional with how I do that. And really does make a difference. So he's inspirational, but he's just a good example.
Go Longhorns, baby.
That's right. I always love watching him at the Texas Longhorn basketball games.
So
him with the orange suit sitting on the bench with the team, acting like he's like a part of the team. It was so great.
Did you guys play sports growing up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played basketball. I played golf. Those were like the two main ones, and I still play today. But yeah.
Nice.
So when I was real young, I had a long like soccer stint, and then high school I played basketball and ran cross country.
Cool.
And then I like to throw in college, I was on the ultimate frisbee club team. So it's like I was basically a pro athlete.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like in cross country, we would always, in like our post season, like sectionals and things, our night before we raced, we would do like an easy 3 miles and then play ultimate frisbee for like an hour.
Oh, that's fun.
Which now I'm like, that's so dangerous. Like we could easily break an ankle or just like roll it. But I love ultimate frisbee. Like if someone's like, hey, you want to throw a football? I'm like, do you have a frisbee instead? I'm a lot better at that.
I suck at frisbee. And golf. I'm okay. I'm just
better than most.
When someone says they're okay at golf, they're actually pretty good at golf.
I can make contact with the ball, and every so often it goes where I want it to. That's how I feel about golf.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty good at football. I can throw the football pretty well. Okay. And then when I was growing up, I did like ran track, played basketball, softball, soccer was the main one. But I remember I didn't want to play softball. I wanted to play baseball because I had an older brother and they played baseball obviously. And I just hated the softball. I was like, why can't I just use a regular baseball? Like, and he taught me how to like throw a fastball and a curveball and all this stuff.
Nice.
And I hated that. But soccer ended up just taking over everything. I didn't have time for anything else.
Yeah.
It was like soccer and music.
Yeah. I'm amazed by soccer players, the amount of control when like you get a long ball from across the field and then they just stop it on a whim. Like, it amazes me.
Soccer was one of those things that for me, like I was a forward my whole life and I was just scoring goals. Like that was like my thing. I was just had a knack for it. Like I always wanted to be up front, play me the ball in front of me. I was really fast. And I got recruited, I think, just because I could score goals and I was really scrappy and, kind of tenacious. But it's one of those things that then I got to college, a lot like how I think kind of one of your questions was like the competitiveness in Nashville and how do you stand out? But like my first taste of that was getting to college and knowing that I was, one of the best in my town, in my club. And then you get to college and everyone's the best. And you're looking around like, oh gosh, that person is faster than me. That person is bigger than me. That person has better ball control than me. The person's, has more, their game is smarter than me. And I just remember being so defeated. Like my freshman year was so tough, and I messed up my ankle really bad. I ended up having to redshirt. And then I'm at this, crazy academic tough school and sitting in these huge lecture halls, like, what am I doing? And then it wasn't until my junior year that I really like got back to being me, which again is like such a big thing that I live by, the kind of playing to your strengths and being yourself, because my coach, I love him and we have a great relationship, but I feel like I hated a lot of my coaches. I think you like kind of have to hate your coaches. But he tried to make me into a player that I wasn't. Like my things were what I just said. I was fast. I was scrappy. I was going to work my butt off, and I knew how to score goals. And then he kind of tried to form me into this midfielder, like, trying to be this like really crafty with my feet. And, obviously first touch is important, but just things that were then taking over so much of my mind that I was forgetting what I actually naturally was really good at. And that's how it kind of feels with going back to the whole American Idol thing, is just like, don't try to be something else. You can get better. Like, and you can, of course, like work on things that you need to work on. Like for me personally with music, I'm not very good at guitar. Singing, I got it, like that's my comfort zone. Guitar and songwriting, those are things I'm still working on, and I will continue to work on them. Will I ever be a, shredding on guitar at a concert? Probably not, but it is something that I will have in my toolbox. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was for soccer. It was accepting, okay, yeah, sure, I can get really good with my feet. But when it comes to game time, let's not forget like what my identity is and what my role is and what I can naturally bring to this team and help us win. Mm-hmm. And I just think sometimes you get clouded by other people trying to turn you into something else, or making you feel like because you're not good at that one thing, you're not good at all. And then I remember getting to Nashville and feeling that same way, looking at all these people that had so many more years before, ahead of me, and they had figured out how to make a living with music and are playing everywhere, and people know who they are and they're writing these songs. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, how do you ever, I cried myself to sleep so many times and called my mom, like, what am I doing here? Why is this ever going to happen for me? And I think that's why that first audition in American Idol meant so much, because you start to think it might never happen until it does. And life is just crazy like that. I think just everything, I think there's a reason why sometimes you're like, why didn't that happen that way? Or, I remember not getting through that producer audition and feeling like, God, am I not good enough? Am I missing something? And then you just don't know what is waiting for you, and you don't know what else there is. And a lot of people, my roommate talks about this when the pandemic hit, she lost her job and it was like the end of the world. But then she was like, God, but I really hated that job. And then a month later she got with another company, and she's now like fully basically her own boss, working for great people, making great money. And it's just funny how sometimes negative things, or they seem like negative things in the moment. They seem like it's like the worst thing in the world, but it actually is working in your favor. And I think we can kind of forget that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it was it Toby Keith? He had like a 4 or 5 episode series, and his big thing was like, everything's blessing and curse. Everything, even like your greatest talent, blessing and a curse, because there's something.
No, you're talking about Garth Brooks.
That's what it was.
Yes, that documentary.
I don't know why I was thinking Toby Keith. I'm like, this is not right, but I'm going to ride with this hard.
Oh my gosh, no, I love that. Yeah. I remember him saying that.
And my parents, like, they'll respect country, but like now they love Garth Brooks because of that. I'm like, all right, hop on some other trains too. There's a lot of goodness in this country. But yeah, it's, it's having that openness to see, like your friend was like, oh man, at first it's like, what am I going to do? And then it's like, be open to a blessing where life is like, hey, here's an offering, and now it's up to you to take it or not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh, I love that documentary. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was really good. Mm-hmm. He's got a great story, because he started in like these know nothing bars.
Yep.
And rinky-dink towns.
And he's someone, in that documentary I didn't know that about him, how all these labels passed and then they had to see him on a stage in order to see what that thing was that was his. And, sometimes that's it. And it's also funny because a lot of these country singers, Tim McGraw, like he doesn't really write his own stuff. Kenny Chesney, like, and even Shania and even Faith and Martina, they weren't songwriters. They were just performers and singers, and they just had this thing. And I think, nowadays it's hard because it's so saturated here. And, when a lot of people have passed on, a lot of labels have passed on artists and then they come back to them, or a lot of radio has said, that song isn't going to be a hit. Gabby Barrett's song, I Hope, everyone passed on that song. No one thought it was going to be anything. And she had one of the craziest years ever, and it won all these awards and was number one.
Wow.
Like it's just funny how timing is a big thing, and just, it just sometimes takes people longer to see what's really there.
Yeah, and there's an element of just consistency. Like, you said you stick to your guns, like who you are. You're going to sing what you want to sing and write what you want to write. And if people pass. And then someone else is going to be like, thank you for passing. I want in. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you can only be happy with that. Like, how do you present yourself? Like how, what are you giving to the world? What are you leaving people with? And at the end of the day, for me, if I'm making someone feel something, if I write a song that people can relate to, if my voice heals someone, or if I make someone happy, or even like down to my Taste with Grace thing that I do, the cooking stuff, like for some reason, I think that is like so silly that I'm just in my kitchen cooking. People love it. I don't know why, but they do. And it makes me happy that I'm making them happy. And that's like, if I can leave people with that, I will be satisfied.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think I've seen you like do that before. And I'm like, first off, what a great title. Like Taste with Grace.
One of my fans came up with it.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Go that person.
I was on the live and I was like, should we call this something? And someone types Taste with Grace. And everyone was like, yes.
Yeah. Easy decision.
Yeah. It's funny because the owner at the gym where my office is, she's like, look, you dance like in the middle of class when we're all near death because of whatever the workout is. Like you're dancing, like you just sing, even if it's just like your words, like, oh, I forgot my protein today. And she's like, you need to do video of you in the kitchen. I'm like, I know, I haven't done it, but that's
do it.
Awesome. Taste with Grace. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need a clever name though. I need a good name to go with it.
No, I didn't have a name when I started. I just was like, I'm going to go live and cook some stuff. And if you guys have questions, jump on and ask, and I'll post the recipe afterwards. And I think I was just talking to a girlfriend about this yesterday, who I got coffee with, and she's been talking about starting a podcast and doing some more videos of maybe cooking or fitness and stuff like that. And it's just starting. Sometimes you just need to start, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be weird. I remember the first time I posted a video of me even singing on my Instagram. This was way back in like probably 2015, 2016, when like people were first like finally posting videos, because Instagram had just come out with like the video option. It used to just be pictures. And I remember being so nervous, and I was like overthinking it. And I was like, well, how long should it be? I can't play guitar, so I have to pull up a track. I have to find this track. Should I do this song? What if I do that song? I remember texting my friends about it. And then you put it up there, and first of all, people forget the next day. Second of all, it's like all I got was positive, feedback. And I think it's just ripping off the Band-Aid and starting and just being like, I don't care if it's weird. I don't care if it's awkward. I don't care if I mess up. I don't care if people hate it. Like, you just got to start, and then you just kind of get better and better and better.
See, it's a boot and ass that I needed today.
Yeah. The title,
so do it
the title will come. The title will come.
Yeah.
Just start and.
I should have done it when I made meatballs this morning.
Yeah, those look good. I saw that story.
I had to try one. I'm like, I'm biased. Oh, but damn.
Wait, what about it's Colin, right? What about just like Colin in the kitchen? What's wrong with that?
It's not bad. I've thought about that too. I was like, like.
That's so easy.
Yeah. Or like cooking with Colin. Or
cooking
like,
with Colin.
Hey, there you go. Alliteration.
See, All right, guys, we're not getting off this podcast.
Just don't take taste with Colin. I won't let that fly.
No, yeah, I can't rip you off.
You can't. Yeah. Yeah, just give yourself a date and just do it. And just be like, and do something really easy. Like the one I did, my first one is I just made my spaghetti sauce because I'd make it all the time. And it was like really easy. And I prepped a little bit. And then I just like that same day, I just said, I'm going to go live and cook something. And then people showed up and it was really fun.
Is that like your own recipe sauce?
Kind of. It's
like
kind
family?
of developed. It's my sister sent it to me forever ago. And then I've kind of added my own little things. It's just a simple, easy marinara sauce. And then I add ground beef to it. And then I do it in a spaghetti squash.
I may have to try that. That sounds like it would go really well with my meatballs. Yeah.
Oh, I also make really good have you made the whole 30 meatballs yet, Tim?
Not yet. No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll send you those.
Okay.
If you follow on Instagram, Define Dish, she's awesome because she makes just like really good like meatballs and like burgers and you know that are whole 30, even though the whole 30 rules is like don't like mimic bad food, whatever. I don't follow that rule. But she makes really good meatballs with this tomato sauce and they're super easy and you can have them with like spaghetti squash or zoodles and it's delicious. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of my recipes I steal from my sister.
Nice.
And she does not, she's like the opposite of me. We did do a Taste with Grace. We made Christmas cookies together. I was like pulling teeth to get her to come on the camera with me. She just isn't. She's always been the more like shy, like I'm just going to fly under the radar. And I'll always be like, I'm stealing a recipe. Like, do you want to come on and like talk about it? And she's like, no, I really don't care. Just like, I don't care. You don't even have to give me credit.
Yeah, right.
But she's a way better cook than I am.
Okay. But you're catching up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
So
I think everybody in my family cooks really well though.
Yeah.
I just suck at barbecuing.
Oh, I haven't messed with that yet. I'd like one of those green eggs sometime to smoke, but not yet. I'm not there yet.
I just feel like there's people that are really good with like meat and like grill. Like my brother Chris is just like the grill master. Like he makes wings and you know any type brisket, steak, pork, like turkey, like all of it. Like he just has a knack for like spices and how to make sure it's you know, crispy on the outside, but tender on the inside. I'm just like, every time I make steak on my cast iron, it's pretty much always overdone. And I'm mad at myself.
Do you only do it like stovetop? Like, do you do the whole cook on stovetop?
Yeah. Cause I'm just in an apartment. I don't have a grill.
Do you have an oven?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do a reverse sear. So you do it in the oven, low heat, so like 200 for like maybe 20 minutes, depending how thick your steak is. And so that way it cooks the middle and then you sear it for like a few minutes on high heat on either side in the skillet. That gets the outside. So then you can keep it still like medium rare. And then, so do the oven first, like 200 for like 20 minutes and then do the skillet. Yeah. Cause otherwise you like burn the outside if it's all skillet too.
Oh, I'm so excited to try that next time. I love this. We're so collaborative. We're so helpful.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like now I need to go cook later.
Yeah.
You made a fun comment that you wanted to reverse. I'm going to change it up.
Reverse.
I'm a great dancer at like weddings and receptions. Outside of that, terrible. I'm good at dancing poorly, but how you wanted to make people feel stuff with your songs. So we were obviously like listening to your music like last few days on Spotify leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
And I really like them all, but Old Songs was something that I vibed with because these old songs are like my old friends. And I've always thought sometimes I have too old of a soul for a lot of modern societal things. And it's like, who else has listened to, I mean, like Tim and his girlfriend, they have record player listen to vinyl, but I'm like, there's not many people who like want to listen to the Eagles on vinyl or Mellencamp or Elton John, Hank. And so that was like, yes, like that was like these old songs, like they got it.
Yeah.
Where they just speak a different language than Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. And it's,
so
you're not tugging on any strings right here, girlfriend. Right here. Relax.
Kyle wrote that song. He actually brought that song to me, and he just loved the way that I sang it. So yeah, that was our song. But that was my first song that he ever played for me that I was like, oh my gosh, one, I love this. Two, to your point, it's so true. And it is a testament to those of us who really just still very much appreciate old music and how it makes you feel, and the roots and the stories and everything that goes in between. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Someone just called me.
Oh, how dare they?
I know, seriously. Let me put just in case I'm going to go on airplane mode. Oh gosh. Okay. We're back. Sorry.
But yeah, you were saying about how the old music gives you those old feelings again of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so excited because actually in my first American Idol audition, I wasn't planning on singing Crazy by Patsy Cline. I
love that song.
I know. I had other songs prepared. Kyle and I didn't even prepare that. And that's why I sang it a cappella, because he was like, I don't want to mess it up on guitar. He's like, here's your note, just sing it. And yeah, but that's a song I've been singing forever. And that was actually, I think, one of the first songs we played as a band was Crazy. And I just love that song. And I just love the way her voice has so much emotion to it. And you almost hear it and you think it's a happy song, but it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about country music. I love a good happy melody with a really sad storyline. Yeah. I think that's like the best.
Yeah. It's fun. You see people like kind of jab to us like, do you know what this is about? No, I haven't listened to it. And it's like, oh, dang. This is depressing.
I mean, even my song Going Back Home, like that's like, she's upset. And it's like, I'm going back home.
I caught myself like doing so that. Upbeat. I was like, all right, yeah. Like we're getting some country with it.
I've been drinking.
And then I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, okay.
That's Kyle though. That is all Kyle. That's the way that he writes. And it's unconventional. It's weird. And, it's been really funny because him and I still write together, but now that I'm with these Nashville writers, that write for radio and write for the label, and, because they want the next number one song. Mm-hmm. There is like some sort of science to it. You don't really know what it is, but there is, the song can't be too long. People don't have attention spans anymore. You have to grab them right away. Mm-hmm. And it's all these other things, but I just love how Kyle is someone who is always a reminder to just like kind of screw everyone else. Just be who you are. Because he does not abide to the Nashville circuit at all. And I love him for that. But yeah, that's his style.
Well, that's cool. Like, and outside of like the authenticity, and then, making it the length proper, what else do you think goes into making a potential hit song a great song? Because I heard Dustin Lynch on a podcast once. He's like, I've figured out for me, I've cracked the code on, I know this one's going to be a hit. And this is one I'd want to be a hit, but it won't be. And then I wrote this one, this will be a hit on the radio. So like he for him, he figured out his own code. So I didn't know if, like in your mind, like what makes a good song?
I don't know yet, because I haven't written a hit song yet. I have no idea. And that's what I mean by like me trying all these different things. Sorry, that is the like straight up answer. Because so what I'll do is, like, for example, I wrote this ballad on Monday, and this past Monday, and I was like, I love this. This feels really good. And I'm crossing my fingers. I'm like, okay, I'm going to send it to my management / she is also A&R. And A&R is like, I always forget what it stands for, but basically they pick all the songs, and they're like, their brains are wired to know like what's a great song and what's just like an okay song. So I always send my songs to my A&R / manager. And I think probably for the past 3 or 4 months that I've been writing, I think every single response has been good song. It's not a single, or that's a good song. Probably just will be good for like a project, an album someday. And I'm like, okay, great. okay. And just like kind of keep my head down. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to get discouraged. And so I was so nervous to send her this one because in my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Yeah. This feels really good. And I sent it to her and she said, I love this. And I was like,
that's awesome.
Yes. So I think I've cracked that code in terms of like finding a song that for some reason, and you know, and then I'm such like a thinker. So I'm like, okay, what made that so special? And when I break it down, I think what makes it so special is the phrasing is really different. I think the biggest thing is like, if it sounds different, you know, if it doesn't sound like, oh, that sounds like that sounds like Gabby Barrett's song. Or, oh, that sounds like, you know, One Night Standards. You know, you want different. So I think that one, the phrasing was really interesting, which phrasing is you know, like the way that I'm singing the verse is like not how you think I'm going to sing it. And so it's like kind of like throws you. And then also it's just so honest. It's a song about, I posted a clip of it on my story, but it's a song about not knowing what love is. And it came from a guy asking me, have you ever been in love? And I was like, I don't know. And I think as much as I've been in relationships where I've said, I love you, I don't know if it was actually love. Like, I don't know. I think I just still haven't figured it out. I haven't really learned it. And so that's basically the chorus is like, I haven't learned what love is yet. And that's the whole song. And I think it's just such an honest, real, relatable thing that is said in a very beautiful and hopeful way. It's not like, I haven't learned what love is and I'm never going to find it and my life sucks, because it turns around. It says, I haven't learned what love is yet. Wait, now I have to think of the hook. I haven't learned what love is yet, but if I do, I hope I get to learn it with you. So it's like a very hopeful, like, yeah, I haven't, but like, maybe you're it. Maybe this, because it's a conversation. And so I'm just really proud of that song, because we took a long time to write it and we went around in circles about it. And I think it's worth it when you finally nail that feeling and it's clear and it's genuine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan Fernandez and Jeremy Spillman that wrote it with me. I didn't write it by myself.
So when is that one coming out?
Oh gosh, who knows?
Okay.
There's so many phases, because we wrote it, we made a little, you know, rough demo of it. And then, you know, we keep writing. And then once we decide, I think I'm going to be cutting songs in the next couple months. So probably in like March or April, which means I go into a studio and like record. Sure. But, you know, it's about money too. So you only have a certain amount to spend. So we have to be very careful with what songs we want to cut and spend the time cutting. And then once you cut it, then I have to do vocals, and then you do vocals, and then you do mixing, and the mixing takes forever. And it's a lot of back and forth of, nope, change that, make it a little bit faster. Oh, maybe we need to add this in. Oh no, take that out. Oh, now Grace, you should just go redo the vocals again. Okay, great. So it's a lot. But it's so fun. And I think I'm just excited because, you know, I know it's going to be worth it, as impatient as I am. And as much as I'd love to say, yeah, that song's coming out next week. Like, I can't wait for that time. It's just going to be so worth it, because all of this work and all of the back and forth and all of the no's on songs and, you know, the question marks like are going to be worth it, because we took the time and to really get it right. And I think that's the most important thing. And I have such an amazing team that knows that I can get ahead of myself and knows that I can get impatient. And I'm such like a doer. Like I need to be doing stuff, that they're just really good at being the people that are like, Grace, like we have to have the right songs, because the songs represent you. And we want people to not only love it, but that you love it and we all love it. And it's you know, we don't want to rush it. And then we put out a song and you're like, God, you know, 10 years later, you're like, why did I do that song? Or that I didn't even really love that song. I just did it because I needed to get music out. That's not how you should do things at all. But I'm impatient.
Okay. Well, we'll have to keep tabs for when that one, if you cut that
we'll
one.
have another chat when the single is coming out.
Yeah. We do follow-ups. Like we don't have to just do one and done episodes. Yeah, we've done some duos. Tim, any other question? I have like one or two more before our final question then, because I know we want to let you get on with your Sunday and things, but then if we didn't hit anything and you want to throw it in. But Tim, any other questions you want to ask Grace before we?
I think I'm good for now. I think I asked everything I wanted to. I think I'm good here.
Okay. I have one, just like any dream collaborations that like if you could do like a piece with anyone.
That's so hard because there's so
will
many
it
people.
Into existence today, Grace?
I would love one of my collaborations. I mean, Shania Twain is a dream collab. I would love to like go on tour with the Chicks someday. I think that would be insane. Honestly, any 90s country artist. But like, I think if I did like a song with someone, Shania, oh my God, there's so many. I hate to like pick. You can't believe you make me do
I know
this.
It's a mean question.
Shania. I think I just have to say her because, because there's, but then I love Casey. I love Leanne Rimes. Oh my God, she would be someone I would die to meet.
I haven't heard Leanne Rimes in years.
I would die to meet her. Oh my gosh, I was so obsessed with her. I still am. I just think she's incredible. She just seems like the coolest person. I'd love to write a song with Maren Morris. I think she's insane. And Casey Musgraves. I think they're just ridiculous writers. Yeah. There's a lot.
Okay, fair enough. Shania.
Yeah, we'll say Shania. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Then like one selfish one. So say someone has like played some instruments his whole life. This is for a friend, asking for a friend. Played a few things. Isn't the greatest singer, does some decent impersonations, again for a friend, but wants to at least be good enough, like campfire songs, and like not like get a record deal, but like, oh yeah, we want him because like he's pretty decent, can kind of sing, play some guitar, but a good bonfire like jam. Like how does someone improve some vocals that like say they just can't get a vocals coach right now? Where should someone start?
Okay, so Tim, where we should start is just kidding. I think
how did you know?
It's so obvious. I think you're asking like vocal, like singing wise?
Yeah, like because again, my buddy, he can impersonate people, but it's like probably not the greatest standalone, just his own voice singing.
Yeah. I think the best thing is recording yourself, as cringy as it is, as awkward as it is, that really does make you so much better, because I do that all the time and I hate it, but I still do it. I did it a lot with American Idol. I would take videos of myself and hear how I sounded, especially a cappella. Or just take a voice memo and pick your favorite song, either play it on guitar or practice singing it and record it, and then listen back and then say, okay, did that sound good? Or maybe play it for other people and just kind of get their opinion. I think that's a great place to start. But also I think everyone can use vocal lessons. If you're really serious about getting like someone, if this friend is really serious about improving their voice, I still take vocal lessons. I do vocal exercises every single day. You're a trainer. So it's the same thing. It's a muscle, and you can train it and you can get it in shape. Food and diet is huge for me too, but that's the same thing: food and exercise and sleep. But I think just practicing, and I think just picking a few of your favorite songs, I think is a really good place to start.
Okay. He really appreciates it. I'll let him know.
Yeah. And if he feels really good, you can send me the recording and I'll definitely give you my honest feedback.
He'll have to think about that for a while. All right. So before, like, so we have our final question. We always ask like everyone that comes on the show, but anything else you want to leave people with? Any final thoughts, something we didn't touch on that you want to run through?
Well, I just want to say thank you. I mean, I'm just I'm honored to be a part of Off the Dome Radio. And I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. And I think just a platform that is wanting to inspire and motivate and educate, especially us three being people that, you know, have strayed away from the corporate world and wanted to build our own businesses and build our own lives. I think that is something that is scary. And I think my biggest thing that I like to leave people with is that the fear is a good thing, and that it only pushes you, and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is such an amazing way to live, because when you do stuff that's uncomfortable, it just makes it so much more worth it when you succeed or you learn something. So I just think what you guys are doing is great. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm just excited to keep you guys updated on my journey and stay updated on what you guys are doing. And awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate your time. Like, I know it's Sunday, you're always on, you're writing, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, got to be on again. So yeah, thank you for hanging with us. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, we just have to talk to people doing it like on their terms.
Yeah.
And they love it too. So, all right. We like to ask, when it's all said and done, Grace is gone, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh my goodness.
I know it got deep real quick.
Oh my gosh. I think I want to be remembered as someone who lifted people up. I want to be remembered as someone who made people happy and someone who motivated and inspired. Yeah, I want to be remembered as a role model, really, as someone who can, and not a role model in terms of like being perfect, but just being real and being me and allowing people the ability to do things that scare you, and to know that, you know, I don't know, that life, kind of what you were saying, has a blessing and a curse, and to kind of look at the brighter side of things. But I think all in all, I just want to be remembered for making people happy.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. Makes you think.
Yeah. Woof. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, where can people find you? Social media?
Like you can find me at Grace Leer Music. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I don't really use Twitter, but go ahead. I don't really use TikTok, but that's Grace Leer Music as well. Just Grace Leer Music. Yeah, I appreciate just the support and everything. It's a crazy ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we appreciate it again.
Thank you again.
Thank you. I hope I gave you enough. I hope
you did. Yeah, definitely learned.
There's probably a few good things we could clip.
I hope so. I talk way too much. So
no, it was perfect.
About that.
That was a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, it was so nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm excited to see your cooking this week, Colin.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep, it's going up.
Spot already.
Published.
You're gonna do it.
Between cooking, I gotta tell my buddies gotta send music to a famous artist already. Yikes! Yeah. Talk about woof.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much again. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks,
yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.